We have a fucking strong album. We have 40-year anniversary. We have, you know, everything. Hello, we are Sepultura, and this is 5 songs that define our career. Hopefully. Inner Self, Beneath the Remains, the first album that we did with Roadrunner, worldwide release. It was our first video clip that we did in Brazil. Because of the demand, we were caught off guard because we were in Brazil and Roadrunner contacted us asking for a video clip. We didn't expect that, you know. But we did in Brazil with some friends. It's very homemade, you know, very alternative. And it was great because it was airing in the Headbangers Ball and stuff. You know, Beneath the Remains was really created that impact that not even Roadrunner believed it, you know, because they changed our logo, they changed our cover, they released the album without the fold, you know, centerfold, without the lyrics, because we as a metal fan, you know, we love that kind of stuff, you know, with the info and all the stuff, and we were very frustrated that we couldn't do the album that we were dreaming of. But after the release of Beneath the Remains, the success of the Inner Self as a song more groovier, you know, compared to the other stuff that we were doing in Beneath the Remains, it really opened the eyes from the label and from the press in general and for the fans, you know, starting to pick it up and making aware of the existence of Sepultura, you know. So Inner Self was really, it was the first introduction for many underground fans that were starting to follow Sepultura very early. Territor is one of our biggest songs. It's from an album, Kyros AD, and I think it represents the Brazilian vibes that we are bringing to the music more intensively. I think the opening, the drum riff that Igor created, it's a fantastic mixture of heavy, hardcore metal and Brazilian rhythm, you know. Still today, it's one of the most original drum intros, in my opinion, you know. And it's a very, I mean, it represents what Sepultura was all about that time, you know, really to be more groovier, to bring more of those Brazilian rhythms and even melodies, you know, on the guitar lines and on the acoustic stuff, on Kyros, you know, we did the stuff with percussion and etc. But Territory, it is a song that really, I think, represents what Kyros AD is all about, you know, especially the drums and all the stuff that we did with the guitars, the groovier parts. And lyrics as well, you know, the more political, that unfortunately we see the situation worse today than, you know, than ever. And the region, Israel, Palestine and stuff was the source, you know, of the lyric. But it talks about many different conflicts in this human world that we go through, you know, and especially because of a piece of land, you know, basically.
I think it had the strongest impact because, like Andreas said, there were elements of hardcore that were in it that I never really heard before in Sepultura. And it was very different from Arise, from Beneath the Remains. And that album really drew me in, and a lot of my friends at the time, when it did come out. And so it drew a lot of attention, especially lyrically. I felt that it was stronger, where I could relate to it a lot more because it was talking about social issues. And I think it was a lot of people from different parts of the world could relate to it, whether, you know, territorial, you know, whether it be in Israel or not. You know, I think there are other people in other countries that could relate to this.
Race Buddy Grades.
Well, I mean, it had to be, right? It is an album that it's really, we exploded on that Brazilian direction and percussion, the Chavantes tribe and Carlinhos Brown, you know, and the song that opens the album represents that, you know. The lyrics, where we come from, you know, the way we portray the world as Brazilians. And we weren't scared to bring those elements to the music, you know, beating bow, you know, extra instruments, the different acoustic Brazilian local guitars and even sitars and long canyon jams, percussion stuff. We were very into that vibe, stuff, getting away of that, let's say even like Pantera or Fear Factory, they're really sharp cuts, like kang, kang, kang. We were completely on the other side of it, embracing noises and, of course, working with Ross Robinson, he always stimulates us for the mistake. And then we do that mistake. He's very happy because we are breaking boundaries. We are discovering new things. We are putting ourselves out of the comfort zone, So that's Roots is all about that, really putting out of the comfort zone and really stretch our abilities and possibilities, And Roots represents that. I mean, it is the Sepultura song per se, what Sepultura is all about. We are from Brazil. We are heavy, and that's what we do, And really, it is an album. It's a reference to even for us, sound wise, and it always is a point of reference, in our history. And so many musicians were inspired by that album. So many bands, that inspired by that album. The new metal, direction, whatever you want to call it, but. And of course, when we play live, it's a big explosion, because it touches not only the Sepultura fan, but a lot of other people, the normal people. Kyros, I think, represents a new chapter in Sepultura's career. And, because we did Roarback and Dante, and then Alex with changing drummers, was a very difficult period of our career. We were going through different managers and record labels and stuff like that. To the point we defined Nuclear Blast as a record label. And I remember me, Derrick, and one of our managers, we went for this dinner with Marcus Tiger. At the time, he was the owner. And he was the founder of Nuclear Blast. You remember that dinner, right? Yeah. And he said, very straight to us, dude, you guys are Sepultura. You know Pink Floyd. You don't do 12-minute songs and 8-minute songs, with concepts and stuff, because we are coming from that world, it worked for that time period and stuff, but he was right, for us was really an eye-opener, was a really fantastic meeting. He was very honest. He was, of course, he knew all the history of Sepultura, why he signed Sepultura and stuff. For him was one of the best achievements for his label to have Sepultura with him. So he was very happy to make us really do the best that we could. So we went a little raw, we took away all the percussion, we took away, not all, but, most of the percussion, most of the strings and all that stuff, orchestra and etc. And we went more, guitars, drums, and bass and vocals. And that's what we did.
I think when Andreas came with the concept of Kyros and explaining it, the meaning of where it's coming from and being in that moment, it made a lot of sense. And it does every time playing that song. It's like getting goosebumps from it just because the moment is happening then. It's so powerful. A lot of people forgetting, they're always thinking ahead or in the past. And again, it really does describe Sepultura in so many ways, just like forgetting all that stuff and just being in the moment and being focused on playing the show or playing the music that we're playing. And it has such a strong impact working with Roy Z, who's great, like Andreas was saying, with all of us, lyrically, he's just like, really pushing us to elements that we had within us. He's like, let's bring that groove, let's bring that back, let's open it up. And not be afraid of that. And not be afraid to make mistakes as well. He's like, look, I'm going to play your solo track of, different artists like Queen or Al Green in the studio and brought everything down. He's like, there's tons of things going on in the background, but it's just loosening up and being in that moment. It doesn't have to be perfect, and it just really gave us the confidence. And we have been working with Jean Delabella for the second album. So that was also greater as well. So I felt like, okay, we have the concept, we have the artwork, we have the song, which every night represents the moment. It's like, I don't know, there's like a fire when playing that song that I think really ignites the room. And it's great to see that reaction of like this newer generation starting to come in. Because there were a lot of like different haters from the past, or certain people who were haters who became interested in the band. Like, okay, they're moving in a direction that I can get with now. And we could feel that momentum building. And then with the whole new generation that have been, you know, introduced to the band, like, oh, this is my shit. So it was a really cool element from playing that album, playing those songs, that you could see there was moving in a bigger direction.
Guardians of Earth.
Last album?
Last album, yeah. It's one of the most important albums of our career. We are going through everything now on this tour because of Quadra. You know, we survived the lockdown with the album. We created the Sepultura event. Another album came out of it. And Guardians of Earth especially because musically, it's a song that I wanted to include more of the acoustic guitar. Not only as an intro, but more as a part of the song itself, you know. That's why it has like a long part in the beginning with drums and strings and guitar, acoustic guitar. And then the fire comes and start destroying everything, you know, the distortion and the screaming and etc., you know. And then there's this beautiful guitar lead as well, very simple, but very meaningful to everything, you know, the beauty of nature and stuff, regardless of what we do to nature, you know, is there. The beauty is there. We need to learn with it, you know, and not destroy the stuff. I mean, that's another theme that we use, that we talk about, especially since Kyros on KZD, and then Roots, you know, the Chavantes tribe, the preservation of life as we know it, in nature and stuff, how we can deal with that in more respectful ways and stuff. And there are ways that we can do that, you know, so we use our music to express that, you know, to put that in place, because we are from Brazil. It's not the only country who goes through this, you know, but in Brazil, we have a huge problem with that because we have the Amazon, you know, the Amazon forest, and we have to preserve that for not only for Brazil, but for the world, for you and for you as well. You know, it's the lung of the planet, right? It's known to be. So Guardians of Earth represents all that, you know, musically and lyrically. What Sepultura also have this flag, what we always, you know, raise very strongly throughout our career.
The song it's interesting because I moved to LA, and then Andreas sent me the part, and it just really clicked fast.
Like, I remember at the demo, man.
It
was a long time. Right in the beginning of the recording, the writing sessions was one of the first songs that we started working. And right away, like a few few ideas, Derrick said, dude, this song is fucking...
It's just like visualized everything without even really having to talk. And it just, you know, with the whole intro, it was like I was imagining the rainforest. It's just something that came to me. Like, it was just like, yeah, this definitely has to do with the vibe. And I always wanted to hear more acoustic of Andreas playing because it's something that he's always been doing. And it could be, you know, put into the music of Sepultura because it's a part of his personality, a strong part, you know. And it was just like, oh, this is exactly, you know, the direction that has to be going. So walking around listening to him, it's like, man, I feel like I had just been online with a friend from Ecuador, and he was just like, you should check out this Amazon like project that they're trying to help indigenous people. And I started hearing more about them fighting in the Amazon. There's no law there. There are loggers and agriculture people killing them, and just a lot of just massacres going on that people don't hear about these stories. And there's Amazon Frontlines was the name of this group, and they were fighting not only in the Amazon in Brazil, but all the surrounding countries that have part of the Amazon as well. And I felt that, you know, all those images I was seeing, I was like, God, I'm imagining this beauty of their life because they have all these images showing their way of life. And then it breaks into this heavy part, and I was like, yeah, this is definitely the part of like us, like the planet itself, especially Western civilization, the demand and all this stuff that's being ripped out of the rainforest. So it was really following like a storyline that was just easy to follow with the music. And then the breakdown where it's just like, you know, that life is still there, like he was saying, like it's like really preserved, it's really there, it's up to us to really learn about it. And towards the end, it's like, yes, I'm fully committed into preserving. It's kind of in that direction where it's triumphant. In the end, like, it's never going to stop. Like, this fight is something that we have to continue. And so I love the flow of the song because it really goes in the direction of just like, yes, by the end, you're like, okay, there's a beautiful, beautiful part, the negativity, then, the realization, then the solution, the end, to never give up and to understand what's going on around us as a whole. Yeah. So I think this, and visually, we were able to contact that group and use a lot of their footage to help them, in the video that we created during the pandemic and everything. And it was great because I felt that we had gotten to a level of writing where things just were clicking. It was just a little bit easier in a way, but at the same time challenging for all of us. It was a great balance of both, because we always need those challenges. And we pushed ourselves harder than anything else, really to create that album. It was something very special, but that song itself is just, it's monumental. It had a lot of influence in a lot of other bands like Gojira and other bands that came out, talking about it and having that impact.